And what's more appealing than a brother who thinks in freedom and dreams in kingdom? About that red, black, and green. I mean, read books about blacks living in greens and he feels like he can alter things. A realistic optimistic with tangible goals. A hero cause he rose about the gardens of Argyle, got sick of the wells, decided to reign, collided with change and he changed. From a D-boy to hella man, a Mandela man, and what's more appealing than a revolutionary in a fitted cap? Him roster under the hat, under the act, no Oscar, a mandingo who thinks quick but speaks slow, with a swag that reeks go when he's ready. A renegade with a steady blade, cut from a cloth that was fashioned in a fabric that was patterned after Panther's passion. And all these ratchets, swear to God, they can have them. Oh, you think you can handle the chairman, Fred Hampton Sr.? Oh, you a cool too. Read her story. You thinking you can do it too. Think you got what it takes to be the queen of a Mumia Abu Jamal. All in all, yeah, you a down system. But if your mister was a political prisoner, how long would you stay down, sister? Because average Joes get average Joes and he's been chose. So no, I'm not talking about running behind a street soldier hugging blocks. I'm talking about jogging with a juggernaut. Only thing is you a thug or not? Because the only clause with the cause that the cause comes with no office or hours. And the building keeps moving when building a movement. Could you get in tune with the changes? Could you handle the fire of a freedom fighter? Imagine what you gotta be if your king's a messiah. Could you keep him inspired when he's tired? Would you make home a heaven or a hell? Or hell would you believe him? Or hell him as a heathen if his honor was honestly to the people first? Whether leading the church or seeming to hurt. Could you follow this man knowing his steps could lead to the dirt? Could you see him in a hearse? What if he told you he was leaving in March? To lead in a march. Because of a seed in his heart, away from a seed in his heart. Could you see in his heart? Have belief in a mark towards a high calling, or do I hear crickets chirping? Would you desert him if his purpose took precedence over any relationships at present tense? Would you present tense? I'm saying, could you overstand a plan bigger than him being your man? Could you invest in his interests? Could you share his heart with a mistress? Minus the tits and hips, but just as tempting as any other temptress, and she's carrying his baby. With no prior intercourse, just in the course of creating change, they created change that bore her name, Revolution. And she sure know how to choose them, noose them when she seduce them, refuse to lose them. Would you miss them for the mission? Would you miss missionary? Could you marry the vision of a visionary? Would you be down or be scary on the battlefield? Could you battle hills for mountains? Could you keep your fountain faithful and sacred when you mount them? Could you handle the outcome of a Malcolm? I'm saying. What if his job was working for God and had no tangible pensions? Would you be throwing tantrums and bitching, or would you try to convince him to hold for a system of diamonds and riches? I'm saying. Or would you try to assist him? Would you spaz or shabazz? Get on your Betty thing, Coretta King. Could you put it all on your wedding ring? What if you caught this man flirting with freedom? Would you let it ring? See, we hail these dudes for big dudes with big shoes, but we forget who watches the feet. No, we hail these dudes for big dudes with big shoes, but we forget who washes the feet. Before the victory the rest of the world receives, who watched him mobilize with mobilize? Gave up everything in their normal lives for everything but normal lives, and to no surprise, yes, this man is great. But I think sometimes we underestimate what kind of woman it takes. No, for real, we underestimate what it takes, the loss. And loving a brother, creating a legacy could cost, because while he's out there fighting for just us, it's not just y'all. It's a just cause. And just cause, the system want to lynch him. Even the niggas in the street want to clap at him like talented strippers. And long after this world puts him in the ground in the grave, guess what? Them seeds still got to be raised. So I'm asking, how strong is your garden? Could you be the wife of a God with a Garvey heart, with a Huey spark, marked for death, only trying to leave his mark in his life? Do you really think you got what it takes to be a revolutionary's wife? That's just something to think about.
All right, peace and blessings. Welcome to another episode of Do Knowledge Radio. The place where knowledge is born. This is your host, Knowledge Born Alive. Here with the number one advocate for Black love. Okay, we celebrating. It's Black History Month. Yes, we celebrating Black History Month, and we got 29 days to celebrate those who are making history now. So y'all are bearing witness and looking at one who is making Black history happen right now. So today is her day. We are honoring her, her sacrifices, her healing journey, and her transformative magic wand. She got a magic wand in her purse, y'all. She wave at you, and then all of a sudden, y'all in Black love again. You understand what I'm saying? So because of the honor and privilege at this time to introduce herself, present herself. Welcome back to her other platform because she got a few platforms. Just her other platform. Okay, so let's give it up for the lovely, the talented, and the brilliant creatress mind of love. Welcome back to the platform. How you feeling? How you feeling? How you feeling?
I am fabulous, wonderful, and amazing. Thank you so much for having me back.
Love it. I couldn't do this month without you. Okay, I was like, I was on bending knee, y'all. I was like, yo, I'm saying, like, I know you're busy saving the world and making Black love look cool, but you got a few moments for your bro. Like, yo, what's good? What's good? What's happening? She's like, come back at the end of the month, player. Come back. Come back at the end of the month. Okay. So, how you been? Last time you been saying was October.
Yeah.
So, what you been up to besides being magnificent?
Just growing and evolving and, out here bumping my head some so that I can learn the lessons and share what those lessons are. So, yeah, being a martyr in a sense.
Yeah. We're here on February 21st, 2024. So on February 21st, 1965, Malcolm X was assassinated in front of his wife and children. His wife was pregnant with twins. Three of his daughters were there, and one was not there. Also on this day, February 21st, 1933, the High Priestess of Soul, our Queen Mother, Nina Simone, was born. So we're here celebrating life and legacy, and something that was a conjoining theme between those two is that they loved us. They loved us without apology, without permission, without conditions. So unconditional Black love. So you are our number one advocate for Black love. Okay, she didn't say it, y'all. The people said it unto her. She didn't say it for herself. Okay, because I know how y'all be getting. All right. So, in this martyrdom to usher in a transformative Black love experience, what some of the lessons you've learned so far along your way in your journey with
I know
love,
it's
right? Is this journey with love? Like your
journey with
journey with
love. You
love.
know it. Journey with love. That is my
Yes.
handle. And under that I have my journey to love. But yeah, on this journey with
Mm,
love, I know it's cliche, but we are in this era of self-love, right? Like
mm,
that's the new trending thing right now. And that's it's ultimate right now. Like in order for us to be the best, healthiest versions of ourselves, we have to master self-love. But there needs to be a balance in what that looks like because there is a thing of having just so much self-love that we become selfish. And so we want to make
mm.
sure that we have that balance on loving ourselves, setting healthy boundaries, but also having the capacity to let others in so that we can share, the gift of love with others as well.
That was I can marinate for a second because it's like, all right, you gotta. So now, what about the people in the stages of looking at loving themselves as selfish? Like they give everything to everybody else because if they thought about themselves, that would be deemed selfish. Like, how would you navigate a challenge like that? Like somebody who I love hard, I give all of myself to the world and blah blah blah, right? And they don't give anything back to themselves. Like they look at themselves as unworthy or they're incapable of dealing with self love.
Yeah, and I've actually heard that we can get so used to routines and patterns to pouring into others and leaving ourselves out. And so to be intentional, again, that old adage of you can't pour from an empty cup.
Hmm.
So you have to be selfish to an extent. There's different levels to this thing. So you have to be selfish to an extent to where you are able to fill your cup, and then you want that to pour into others should be effortless, once you pour into yourself, and that just automatically overflows onto others. So you don't want to go around feeling depleted and defeated eventually because all you do is give to others. Like, you know, you can't love others unless you ultimately love yourself. So you have to focus on you. You are the common denominator in this game of life. This is your
Mm.
world.
Okay, 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 okay. I am 100% in agreement with that. It starts with you, but how do you begin to give yourself permission to even consider you before you can even begin to place boundaries and standards and all of those things? Like, how do you go from nothing to something in that regard? Like, oh, it's okay. But I could love me. You understand? Like that space. So how do you go from that in that
It
space?
comes down to again being intentional. You saying, I this is something that I want to do for myself, and I'm going to do this for myself. I can remember, on my healing journey, one of the first things that propelled me into recognizing the true power that we have to change ourselves is that when I came out of my marriage, and I decided that I didn't want to have resting bitch face anymore. I got
Mm,
tired of men specifically telling me, smile, sister, you too pretty to be running around with this, mug all the time. And so I just intentionally decided for myself that, I don't want to have resting bitch face anymore. I want to smile more. And so just that intentional decision that I want to be happy, I want to smile, that led me on a journey of doing things in that are going to allow me to smile. So I would take myself out on dates. I would go for walks and enjoy nature, and give reverence to that. I would, even though I'm working from home, get cute and, get dressed up and just sit here and look pretty, because again, it's the intention behind doing things that are going to make me and to allow me to feel good and to smile. So it came down to myself. I wasn't going to go outside of me seeking a relationship. Maybe there's a man that can fill this void, because we continue to find different things outside of ourselves to
mhm.
help us feel good. But it all starts with you and being intentional with the decision to say, this is something that I want for my life, and then taking active steps to implement it and make it happen.
I love that. I love it. 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 Okay. So you've been doing some research. You've been talking to some folks. You've been had some folks on your podcast. You've been doing a whole lot, you know, of your own research and analysis. What are some common themes that you found that are positive attitudes towards Black love? And then what are some common things that you found that are negative towards Black love?
Well, on my social media pages, I actually have a larger male following than I do women followers, and so I'm able to see in real time the difference on how we think as
Mm,
man and woman. And so that's been enlightening to help me put out, I guess, more information to help direct us in a way that we're able to think more collectively. And so, for example, a lot of men are more so, I hate to use the word stuck, are more leaning towards the more traditional way of relationships, wanting to do things how our grandparents used to do
mhm,
things, and we're just not in those times anymore. And as you notice, women are a lot more progressive in a sense. You have this whole modern day versus traditional woman and things like that. And there are a lot of women out here who have that balance between the two, understanding that, I'm not who my grandmother was. I don't need a man in the same way that grandma may have needed a man in 1950, 1960. Like, we have autonomy now, we
mm,
have rights now. So we don't need a man in the same way. We do still need you. And I've noticed that men are having a hard time, or a little more delayed, I say, with evolving to meet women at their standard of how they desire to be loved. And I've even had one man tell me like, well, that's what's wrong with you women. You want to make us love you the way that you need, that you, way that you want to be loved. And so they're just opting to stay single. Well, I don't need your provision anymore. What I need is for you to, have some emotional intelligence, to be able to feed and feed my spirit and my soul. I can provide my own provision. So we have to come to a place where we're serving each other in different ways now. So yeah, that's been the biggest thing.
Jeez, that's what's wrong with you. What?
Like, how dare you ask us to have
Woo.
emotional intelligence? What's wrong with you? We're not doing that. So yeah.
Oh man. Okay. So, did you find that there's a difference in this responsiveness from the virtual space versus the in-person space? Is there is there two different ways? Is it the same wavelength? Like, how would you rate it based off of these types of interactions that you have, per se, in the virtual space? Online, you posing questions, things like that, blah blah blah. The opinionated. I'm gonna write a whole essay, thesis, warning, long post type of situation versus when sitting down with people, because I know you interview people in person too, so you get with them, blah blah blah. So how does that work?
Well, the internet uses leaves room for group thinking. So,
Mm,
most people are consciously or unconsciously are more inclined to slip into that way of groupthink when they're
mm,
on the internet. But yet, when we're out in public, um, or again, if I am interviewing these people, you can hear in their language, they're given the opportunity to be individuals in that sense. And it usually does not match up with what you're seeing on the internet. There usually is some kind of difference. Um, but a lot of the times people are showing you who they are, behind the screen as well. But I like the ability to be out and about interacting with people. That way I can give some of that old school feel of what it's like to connect, man and woman, and it just be pure innocent fun. You know what I'm saying? Just getting to know you, just you, my brother. I love you. Recognize me as your sister. Let's vibe together. So it's definitely a great opportunity to be out in the midst amongst people and loving on each other that way.
okay. So this virtual space, they be acting extra, and when they in person, they ain't acting so extra. What we
A
getting
lot
at?
of the times, a lot of the
Okay.
times, you got a different persona.
Hmm. That's interesting right there. That's very very interesting. So these physical spaces, what's been some of the biggest takeaways from putting together events and working with people physically versus organizing around different social media spaces you've been in, you spoke in, you might have taught in, or brought some people together in that particular space? Um, I'll say, which one do you prefer more? And what's some of your lessons that you learned from each space?
I mean, my preference is brick and mortar setting, to be out in, amongst the people. I know we are in an internet day and age, and that's typically how we connect with each other. But to me, it gives a false narrative of being connected behind the screen. And so for me, I prefer to be out and about and creating the environment. And that's the purpose of Journey to Love dating game, is to create the environment, a safe environment for people to come into a brick and mortar setting and to connect with like-minded individuals. And so, the internet space and connecting that way is never going anywhere. It's probably here to stay for, eons of time to come. But I enjoy bringing the opportunity to connect in a brick and mortar type of setting. And so, I mean, there's no comparison. There's no competition between the two. Either you prefer, had one person tell me that, online dating is more convenient, but when you're able to connect with someone in person, and you're able to feel that energy, because you can fake big time who you are behind the screen. You can't, one thing about energy, it does not lie. And so when you're face to face with someone and you have the opportunity to connect with them, then right then and there, you have that opportunity to feel their energy and decide if you want to connect with this person or not, and as opposed to maybe wasting time when you're going the internet route. So that's what it is for me. I hope I answered your question.
You sure did. You ain't have to hope because you know you did. You know you did. All right. All right. So you got the dating game. You know, from your first engagement to your most recent engagement. How do you feel about what you're doing, the work that you're doing, and the goals that you set out to accomplish with bringing people together, black people together in the space that's safe, that's fun, that's accountable? Because I know you don't be playing. You don't be playing. Okay,
At
we're
all.
gonna have a little yeah. So, what does that look like for you? Personally.
Well, I started doing these games. My first game was August 23. The idea came to me in July 23, and I had my first game in August 23. And so I've just been evolving in this space. I more so have been doing like a pop up game style now, because I've had to, again, evolve. I had to figure out what's working best for the people, because a lot of the times the men, it's really hard to get these men to come out to events and things like that and to participate. And so
Mm,
I don't know with this particular game style how I was doing it at first with interviewing them and taking them through this process to actually match make. That seemed to have been too much pressure for men, as though they thought they had to commit or get married at this point. And so I've had to
dang.
evolve and do different things and figure out different ways. And so now I've been doing more of a pop up game style,
Mhm,
so that it could be more spontaneous and more fun. And so I'm growing in that space to figure out, because I had never been an entrepreneur before. This is all new to me. And so I'm out on a wing and a prayer. I'm walking by faith and not by sight. And
mhm,
but the evolution process for me as a person has just been absolutely amazing. Again, I've been out here because I have to learn how to date. At this point, I was in a relationship for 25 years, and so I don't know what it is to date, and I'm out here trying to teach other people how to
mm.
date. So again, I'm serving as a martyr out here, sitting here steady, bump my head a few times to learn and figure this
Ah,
thing out. But that's not something that us as the Black community necessarily learned how to do. And
mhm,
so the evolution process for myself and how it has grown me and evolved me has just been absolutely amazing, to be honest.
mm. So I want to talk about dating for a second. Dating with intention versus dating without intention, dating with expectations versus dating without expectations. Because I know you've seen a slew of stuff that didn't happen in the virtual space. We're not going to this place. You've got 700 places not to take a person on the first date. And then, this is what we're doing. This is what we ain't doing, blah, blah. Like all of those things. So, how do you find a space of sanity in the midst of all of that when all of these virtual uh, propositions are out here pulling, tugging, creating realistic expectations?
Well, I mean, I think that comes down to which beast are you going to feed more,
Mm,
because there's a lot of content out here. What are you intentionally giving your attention to?
mm,
So I'm not, like you say, you had that era of, I'm not going to go here for a date. There's different type of women, different caliber of women, and who we attract all type of different people, but who you choose to entertain is completely up to you. And
mm,
so that is really what it comes
mhm,
down to. Like, yeah, there's some people out here who are money hungry, who just going to use you for your money and things like that. But a lot of the times we don't use our discernment because we want to satisfy our flesh. Okay, well that
mm.
becomes a you problem at that point. And so I don't
Whew,
I don't concern myself with things like passport bros and men that
mm,
choose to leave the country because black women aren't this or aren't that. I ain't hey, people are free to think however they choose to. I'm going to focus on those who are more in alignment with my way of thought and my way of thinking, and evolve myself in a way that I can attract and gravitate towards these sort of people. So
Okay. 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 So dating for people who might be in alignment with this traditional type of space. You dating with pardon me, you're dating with the intention of, do y'all discuss that? Is that something, it don't have to be you personally. I'm saying like the people that you're polling and looking, what does dating mean for them? Do they have a functional definition? Do y'all discuss that? Is there something that's like, okay, we're dealing with dating from this particular perspective?
well, again, men and women think so differently when it comes to that topic and what that should look like. Because again, as a Black community, a culture in general,
Y'all
we
see that smile? Y'all see that smile? She's like, oh.
we really didn't learn, as a collective, what that is supposed to look like. And so, you
Mm,
know, most women nowadays are like, date them all, sis, until that one man commits to you. You should be
mm,
dating around to figure out what you do like and what you don't like. And a lot of times, what we'll do as women is we will find someone who speaks to just one little part of us, and now we're going to attach ourselves to them.
mm,
So yeah, it's still an imbalance on what dating should look like between men and women. And so I attempt to develop content that puts out there, to give a blueprint in a sense of what dating ideally should look like. Like it is okay, as long as we shouldn't be sexing, right, during the dating
right.
process. So as long as you are being responsible, it's okay to go out with Johnny on Tuesday if this is where you are in your season. Now, me, I don't have enough energy to entertain multiple people,
Mm,
but it's okay to date Johnny on Sunday. Johnny's cool. I'm gonna have to give him another try though to see if there's a connection there. But in the meantime, I went out with Brian on Thursday, and that's okay. And me and Brian had a little bit more of a connection, but I'm still not really sure either if I'm feeling Brian or not. And just because it doesn't develop into a relationship, now we might have a connection to where, I'm bringing your name up in rooms where I know you might be skilled in this area because we've connected and
mm,
we've networked. So
mhm.
you don't necessarily have to date with a purpose, but dating can still be purposeful in this, if that makes sense.
It makes sense. Makes absolute sense right there. So, what have you heard from the men in that regard?
Men are the men seem to date around as well, but don't necessarily feel as though women should be dating around. And I don't know if it's because of that. Well, I mean, it's a double standard when it comes to men and women and how we operate. But a lot of the times men think that dating equates to sex, maybe think that the women are out here sexing all these men. So it's like a no for them. I don't want a woman that's dating multiple people.
Mm,
But yeah, again, you want to align yourself with people who are maybe more evolved in their thinking and understand that, when we're out here trying to understand and learn what we do like and what we don't like. So yeah.
so the dates are discussion based. Like how intricate do y'all get into what these things are in regards to this? Do y'all have a set of questions? Do y'all send three questions? Is it an interview? Is it interrogation? What is it? How does that look?
I mean, as far as like interviewing for my game show, or you mean just like when you're out on a date with someone?
Just
What is
just the dating experiences you heard from some of these people.
that? Well, with the dating experience, and I've actually created some Journey to Love game or questionnaires that will
Mm,
be out on the market here soon, where it has a lot of first date questions that are good to ask, or even if you're just getting to know someone type of questions that you can ask. But yeah, a lot of the times it comes down to asking the right questions. What are some good questions that you should be asking on a first date? Or just again, how can we be of service to each other? How can we help each other grow, even if it doesn't turn into anything romantic? How can we help each other to grow and evolve?
Okay. Okay. So can we get two examples of two good first date questions? I don't want to ask for your whole Rolodex. Just one or two good questions.
One or two good questions for first date, and I don't have my I don't have my little cards here with me, but
All right.
I'll say one good question would be, something fun like what is your biggest pet peeve? Right? Like,
Mm,
to me, that's fun, and it also allows you to see what a person is about. Are they petty?
mm.
Are they reasonable? Or another good first date question would be, let's see, what's your favorite quality about yourself? Or what are some of your biggest strengths or weaknesses, to see again if this person aligns with your moral, or where you see yourself going, your direction in life. So definitely to know what someone thinks of themselves. What are their best qualities?
Mm. Okay.
And we got some
So,
comments in the chat here. If I can address where Bill says that some men think that if you're dating more than one man, it's because you want a free meal. Often the men just really don't want competition. And I have to agree with that as well. Men are competitive and things like that. Or there's this way, I guess, I don't want to call it way of thinking. I don't know the word I'm looking for, but where women are said to be out here dating just to get a meal, right? Like, that's actually happening out here. And so men have fear of things like that now, and aren't necessarily quick to date because they feel like they're going to be used. But again, to me, it comes down to using your discernment, because if you're chasing after the women just because she has a big behind and a pretty face and no substance, well, again, that was you that chose that, because there are plenty of women out here who are, feeding themselves. I feed myself very well, without the assistance of anyone else. And so if you are, again, continue to run into that type of woman that is out there just for a free meal, we have to look at ourselves and say, why am I entertaining these type of women? Because again, we attract all type of different people, and it's up to us on who we choose to entertain.
what's the most profound question you've been asked on a date, and what's the worst question that you can share? Because you probably been like, I don't know if I want to say that, but what's the most profound? Where you was like, I gotta think about that. Versus I know you ain't just asked me that. I want to hit you over the head with this chair type situation.
Well, the most profound question actually that I received, and it wasn't even on a date, but it did trigger me to think about some things in myself, which was, what is it like to be with me? Right. And I guess that's also equivalent to, what do you bring to the table, maybe even. And that question really made me think. I actually developed a poem off of that question. But beforehand, I couldn't really tell you like what it is that I bring to the table. To me, it's still, I don't think it's a question that should be asked, but it was also a question that I couldn't necessarily answer until I was given that question and had to think about, okay, well, who am I? What is it that I bring to the table? And so the piece that I did produce gives all these different intangible aspects and qualities about myself. I'm playful, I'm healing, I'm tranquil, I'm gratifying, I'm pleasant. As before that question came about, like, I don't know, who am I? So, um, and then the most horrendous question I had. So, um, I feel like, again, it comes down to using discernment. And as women, when we're out here in this dating game, there are a lot of good guys and bad guys on, it's even balance, maybe a little bit more than the other. And so a lot of men may just be looking to conquer you. You may just be a conquest to some men. And so, you might just be something that, they're looking to have sex with. And so I had one guy tell me, as I'm passing up his advances, like, no, I'm good. And he's like, okay, well, you've got 3 children already, so I don't understand what the problem is. So in his mind, I should be quick to give up the draws, I guess, because hey, she's already got 3 kids. What you trying to hold on to the cookies for? And a lot of men tend to think that way when it comes to women, like, you've already got children. Why are you trying to hold out on the goods for it? Because like a lot of women, they vagina is connected to their heart, and I'm not trying to get into a situation that I can't get out of because now we have this soul tie. I want to take my time and make sure that you're someone that I'm in alignment with. And so, yeah, I think it's important as for women that until a man is ready to commit to you, you keep your cookies in your cookie jar. And so that's a lesson that I'm out here learning for myself.
Bars. Okay. I apologize on behalf of the male species. We out here doing a little bad. It was a little couple hiccups at the factory, in the reproduction plant. Okay, a lot of us been out here. You make stuff in mass production. You drop some on the floor. You see what I'm saying? All of the parts don't come together in the way that it's supposed to come together. So yeah, forgive us for our slowology. Okay, forgive us for our slowology. So. Man, all right. Yeah, wow. We be out here wild sometimes, man.
I
Yeah.
want to say that because, like I said, I've been out here just bumping my head in this dating field, and it had me discouraged a little bit at first. And I don't know if you saw, like, there's this new thing that people are talking about on TikTok. Some lady named Larissa. I haven't watched it myself, but apparently she got caught up with a guy who seems to be some type of pathological liar and has made her life a living hell. Like, people are talking about on social media. I've caught a couple of clips about it, but my attention span is way too short. However, what the point that I want to make out and what I'm seeing is also some issues that I've been running into myself. And sorry if I talk all over the place. And I'm also into the word, right? Like, I enjoy reading the Bible. I'm not a religious person. I'm more of a spiritual person. And so I look at this when I read the Bible, it's from a esoteric as opposed to exoteric, right? And so when we talk about ignoring our spirit to satisfy our flesh, like, that's the true definition of adultery right there when you're looking at this from an esoteric standpoint. And so many times we ignore these red flags, and that's something that I have been doing lately because of my trauma. And it's good that we know who we are. We understand our trauma and how it affects us in this present day. But because of my trauma and the need to fill this void of not having a male in my life, right? I have been walking past the red flags when dealing with men because it's like, okay, somebody is going to fill this void. And so that has caused me to, even though I feel it in my spirit that you're not in alignment with me, I'm not even really feeling you like that. I'm going to ignore my spirit and honor my flesh. And it never goes right. It never, ever goes right. And I know everybody out here can identify with ignoring the red flags and proceeding anyway. That is, when we honor our spirit, that is a form of self love. When you listen to that discernment, to that intuition that's telling you, hey, don't go that way, that's self-love. That's loving yourself, to have the courage to walk away from a situation when you know it's not right for you. And so I'm learning that as I tap more into my divinity, as I understand more that I am a part of the all, the creator, the power of Christ that is in us. We're not worshiping anything outside of us. Everything you need is already on inside of you. The power of Christ is in you. And so I'm learning to acknowledge that and recognize that and to love that and to appreciate that and to give honor and reverence to that and know that that is enough. I don't need anything outside of myself to fill this void or this emptiness. I am complete. I am whole. I am perfect, just like the all. So I'm learning now to give reverence to I have a very high spirit of discernment. And so I'm learning now to give more reverence and appreciation and respect and gratitude. Thank you for giving me that divine mind. Thank you for that. I will honor that and appreciate that and respect that and listen, when I'm told don't go that way. So yeah.
Yeah, yes. We learn the lessons, and those lessons is what turn them into blessings. So,
Absolutely. And cosmics and energy, cosmics energy says, don't we all have red flags? I mean, yeah, being that all of us have some sort of wounds that we may or may not be cognizant of, it can project some distasteful, maybe, or unpleasing ways of being. But most people aren't intentionally toxic. And if you're healthy enough and evolved enough and love yourself enough, when those triggers do come about, you understand that, okay, this is a space for me to grow and evolve in. So most people, most healed people aren't hurting people. Most hurt people are hurting people. And
mm,
so, yeah, we all have red flags to an extent, but point my red flag out to me so I can make corrections. You know, I'm to that evolved place, and I want to be around other people that are at that evolved place. That I'm not intentionally out here trying to hurt anybody. If I've done you wrong, please let me know. You know, if I'm moving shaky, please let me know. Bring it to my attention.
if I'm moving shaky, yeah, I think that's a beautiful part about that. We get mirrors, we get
Yes,
mirrors, and we become each other's reflection in that regard.
yes,
It was something I saw you post, but I didn't get a chance to see the responses. So I'll ask you here if that's okay. Don't slap me if I get out of line. Okay,
okay.
just smack the red flag. Okay. Um, I saw a post about interracial dating. I think you asked a question about that. Like, can you be pro black and date outside your race? I'm curious to hear your thoughts and see what your community said, because you got your own love tribe, okay? And they don't play about you.
Yeah, you know, I usually just make these posts just to gauge conversation, and I hardly ever answer myself, and so I didn't even
Mhm.
really put much thought into that question. So my opinion on that matter is, I think that of course people are free to love who they love and should love who loves them back. But I lean a little bit more onto the side that, yeah, being pro black means that you honor that in every way. Like I want people to that look like me. I want other melanated people. You know, I want to pour into you, and I want to, keep my income, my funds in the community. I want to get back to a place where we're honoring, community and brotherly and sisterly love. For those that look like us. So I do lean a little bit more to the side of staying within that melanated space. And the thing is that there are melanated people in every single culture around the country. Like you can go to Russia and find a black woman. You can go to, the Philippines and find someone that's dark melanated. Just about anywhere you go in the country, there's melanated people. And so to me, there really isn't much reason to step outside of that complexion in a sense, unless you just desire to, and that's okay too. What you eat don't make me boo boo. So, you know, do what you do. But for me, I do love my black men. But let me share with you though, right? I did go out on a date with a non-melanated man, with a white guy. And he actually had me evaluating for a moment. Like, I've had this undying loyalty to black men, and black men aren't necessarily loving us the way
Mm.
that they could be loving us. Because you remember, like I said earlier, they're just not really evolving to adapt to our current reality.
We
And so,
stuck.
and so, if there is someone that may lack a hue, a couple shades, of complexion, who still wants to love me and honor me, for a moment there, I was like, it don't necessarily seem like a bad idea. So I can't. Yeah, I'm a little on the fence when it comes to that one. I do want to love who's gonna love me, but I do have this yeah, this thing about my melanated black men. I love black men. I love you, kings.
And we love you. Okay, we love you. Despite the internet and these virtual situations and these weird behind. I know we streaming to your space, so I ain't gonna get too
That's
irate
okay. Be
over
free.
here. Okay, these weird ass podcasts that they be listening to and pumping around and pushing around, and got black men looking one way and black women looking another way on purpose,
Right.
by design, and with an endless budget to feed them. All of us don't feel like that. All of us didn't go to
Exactly.
that part right there. So the continuity of space and the more opportunities to present this becomes the standard. Because if smut is the standard, then that's what people gonna gravitate towards. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? So even with the lady, I didn't see it, so I don't really know too much about it. But people are in an uproar and some kind of tailspin. It goes from one thing to the next thing to the next thing to the next thing. So whether
Yeah.
they talking about who was on this particular podcast over here talking about what, and then you got these comedians in the uproar over here, like all of this mass distraction centered around every single time we start coming together, every single time we start looking towards each other, there's some kind of distraction. And I think that was something that they showed in the Matrix 4. Like they did everything in their power not to have Neo and Trinity together. You see what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
nothing could stop them from being together other than themselves. So everything in their power and everything else that was trying. So we have to see ourselves in a likeness where we find value in each other again, beyond the topical type of situation. The topical type of situation is something that's fleeting and it can go from one extreme to the other. But a foundational space, what you call an esoteric space, a spiritual space, a
Right.
metaphysical space, whatever the case may be, foundationally you there together because we understand that our destinies is written together. So
Right.
we're going to operate optimally and best when we operate optimally and best with each other. And then the best comes from us because we bring the best out of each other. It ain't the agreeing, all the time and on every single thing. Like, oh, you said that, oh, we agree. No, we challenge each other to make each other better, to bring the best out of us. So this is where it's at. So we know purposely when we walk out the door why we walk out the door. And when we come home, we come home in that space. We come home in that sacred space. You see what I'm saying? So um, that was a point to where when we control our narrative, this becomes our narrative. This is what we begin to push out. We don't push out the the scandalous, the least of us. We don't give the least of us the most attention. We give the best of us the most attention, and the least of us, we find ways to reform them if we can't, or we send them from amongst us. So for the people who can be reformed, okay, and for those predators and the rest of those other ones, the ones who know me know what I mean. Okay, that's something that need to be xed all the way out. You understand what I'm saying? If you got 75 red flags and you ain't trying to work on none, somebody need come pay your visit and
Absolutely.
red flag you. You understand what I'm saying? Red flag you. Yes. So yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely thank you, for your time and for your energy and for your commitment, bumped head and all. Okay, and my fervent prayer is that this factory over here get back up and running in the way that it's supposed to do, and some folks out here that are so desirous to continue. I want to ask two questions, two last questions. So this first question is: despite all of the challenges and the delays that you was talking about, uh, what can what is one of those things that continues to give you that spark and motivation to pursue black love, to journey to and with black love and promote black love?
Well, I want to say thank you to my community, to the people who are lifting me up when I'm questioning my potential or my calling, my purpose, my reason for being. I have a community of people that tells me, you're on the right path, you're doing the right thing, keep going. For those that see a need for what I'm doing and you express to me and show me gratitude, thank you for what you're doing. This is needed in our community. That gives me momentum, coming from a place where consistency was a weakness for me. I've never finished anything, so it's so easy for me to give up and quit, but I have people rallying behind me to say, no, keep going. And that gives me momentum, that gives me life. So I want to thank my community, those who see the vision and believe in the vision and believe in me to execute it, and for being a part of the execution process. So that's one thing there. And then also something that just keeps me going is I just genuinely believe in what I'm doing. Because it saddens me to see these gender wars or the gap in our community. I actually just had me some business cards made recently, and I have a Bible verse and like a little slogan that I came up with. And the Bible verse is, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation. And so that kind of goes back to what you were saying in regards to, you know, as a man think, or as a community think, as a house thinks, it's the way that we think, as not just as individuals but as collectives, that are going to repair or guide the direction. It's what serves as a again, as something that's going to guide us. Okay, so it's important to me to continue to spread a message of, hey, if we continue to be divided, we are going to fall. We need each other. We won't be able to stand. And then also, Journey to Love is a remedy to help bridge the gap in relationships and help to strengthen our community. So for me, I see this as a remedy. I see this as something that is going to help cure or bring resolve to some of the issues that we are having in our community, again, when it comes to these gender wars and these gaps. So put me on the other side of these red pill community podcasts, and everybody else is speaking negative. I'm on the other side of that, combating that with, my journey to love and journey with love and my purpose and my vision.
Yeah, forgive the fools out here. It's a bunch of them. Okay, they
It's a
are.
lot.
They on assignment and on payroll. Somebody has to advocate for the devil out here, and they're making it very very easy. But it's you're easily susceptible to these kinds of things with spaces of dissatisfaction, and not resilient, and then not proper examples. If you saw some of these examples out here that they're showing, they're advocating one way or the other. So thank you for committing to displaying righteous examples and bringing us together. Literally, when we come together, a lot of this stuff, like you were saying, a lot of this stuff is it's gone. People might come someplace, we might get us together, we might be on guard for a little bit, but after a while it's going to dissipate. If you're
Mhm.
supposed to be there, if you're not supposed to be there, you're going to leave.
That's right.
You're going to leave. But but for those of us, when we get together and we have spaces of celebration, it's truly and genuinely and sincerely love. Like we've seen them over the years, and everybody gets together, despite their challenges. So that fervent prayer again is that you continue to be resilient enough despite the challenges to provide it, because it gets exhausting. You reach burnout and all of that. You be like, man, what am I doing this for? All of that. You see what I'm saying? So you get to those points. But I'm thankful that you find that space and you have community to be able to be a reminder. You'd be like,
Yeah.
okay, I could check in with some of my folk, and they'd be like, oh, your crown's slipping a little bit. What's going on? So get it together and re-empower you, and you come back out and engage. So I think that's beautiful, because predators prey on those who don't have a support system.
Mhm.
And one of the first things they do is seek to isolate you from your support system. So or they try to win them over one way or another. Either they try to isolate you or win them over. So when the abuse begins to happen, uh, they're like, "What you talking about? That guy? What you talking about? That girl? No, they was cool with me. I don't know, man. What you doing?" And they start looking at you like, "Well, what you doing to cause it?" And all that other stuff. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
love yourself enough to develop a community who supports you. You know, that's also all of this is forms of self love because I've been so introverted and a hermit all my life that it takes a lot of effort and intention to reveal myself to people, be vulnerable to people, and say, "Hey, I'm showing up like I am. And it's a little awkward, maybe, but I need you to receive me and to help me and to love me through this." So, yeah, love yourself enough to be intentional about developing community for yourself. We need each other, and we're not an inconvenience on the next person. You know, people want to help you, believe it or not. Tell yourself that people want to help me, and I'm open and receptive to receiving help from others. Okay, love yourself in that manner. Be intentional.
now let's talk about your show. What's up with your show? Are you doing another affirmations challenge? I was a fan of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's next for you that you can share with us that you got going on?
Yeah, so you can actually find daily affirmations on my TikTok. I think it's Love Evolved is my TikTok. So I do daily affirmations there. In regards to Journey to Love, I am also a spoken word artist. Okay, so I do my spoken word.
Do I clap or do I snap with?
I do my spoken word. So I take you on a journey with love through my poetry. So, you know, sometimes we may go from that dark place and let me hold your hand and take you to a light place. So a lot of the times my poetry will resonate with hurt that most people have probably experienced on some level. But let me again take you to the other side, to the light. So I do my journey with love poetry. And then as far as the dating game goes, I've moved to doing a more of a pop-up style for now, again, until I can get more exposure and develop and create my brand a little bit more. And then I'll go back to doing these pre-planned games where I'm taking applications from interested parties and making matches that way. But as for right now, um, you can follow me on Instagram, journey with underscore love, to find out where the next pop-up event or game is going to be. I try to at least give at minimum a week's notice and more if I can. But in the meantime, follow me on my Instagram, also my link tree, which is linktr.ee/ journey with love. So follow me there. That will link you to my podcast. That will link you to my clubhouse. I am going to get back active to doing my clubhouse rooms where we speak a message of love, encouragement, also maybe breaking free from religious psychosis. You know, I discuss topics like that. And you'll also find my Snapchat, Instagram, all my social medias through my link tree. So definitely follow me there. I also do coaching as well if you need, you know, assistance on tapping more into your divine femininity, or maybe how to heal past trauma. You know, there's many exercises that we can develop, that we can go through together. You know, breathing exercises, journaling. Like, this is a spiritual warfare that we are having, so we have to do the spiritual work, and I can show you how to do that. So yeah, get in alignment with me.
Posting the link tree, okay? Posting the link tree. I know your fam know what time it is, so my fam need to get re-hip, get it together, get consultated so we can stop being delayed and slow
Yeah.
out here, okay? And stop messing up the dating game, okay? All right? So, yeah. Thank you for your time. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming through and being celebrated. You understand what I'm saying? Man,
Yes.
ain't nothing like it. Ain't nothing like it. And you're welcome to come back anytime. I'm gonna bother you every month. Be
I'm
like, hey,
okay with that. It was a
what's
pleasure.
up? Like, how you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, I know you're busy, but what's up? Pop up over here. You know what I'm saying? Pop up over here. So
Okay.
definitely. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your commitment, and thank you for the truth because we don't have enough of it out here. Okay, we don't have enough of it.
Absolutely.
We got to find a word before we go, or a piece. You want to share something? Something?
Well, you know,
One
I
way or
actually would like to share a piece
the
actually, if that's okay.
All right.
And it might be
Let
a
me.
bit of a downer, but hey, I need to
Hey,
take
do
you on
what you
this
got to
journey.
do.
Let me
Let
take
me
you on this
introduce you
journey.
like they do in them poetry. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. First time here on Do the Knowledge Radio, here to give us some of that real deal, true about her journey to love. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and show your love and Do the Knowledge Radio fashion for love. Do they do that? Do they hold it out like love? Okay.
Fabulous, beautiful. Yeah, let me take you on a journey real quick. Journey with love. My father died when I was just a little girl, robbed of the opportunity of being daddy's world. I was 9 months old to be exact, void of all memories of me resting on his lap. My big brothers hated me, or maybe it was jealousy. They were always so cruel to me, saying mean things, resentful I was even born. Man, I sure do miss my daddy, who I never got to mourn. The boogeyman entered my room many of nights while I was sleeping. His dark shadow and pungent smell were so creepy. Frozen with fear, he's hovering over my bed. Is this happening for real? I wish it were all in my head. Are those ants in my pants? Oh man, I just wet the bed. When mama finds out, she's going to be mad. Laden with fear, my heart felt like lead. I found someone who could protect me. He's big and tough and knows how to fight. Yeah, he's a gangster, a bad boy. I dare you to mess with me now, boogeyman. He'll punch your lights out. The illusion of safety is better than none. When operating from a broken place, toxicity looks like fun. So now I'm in this trauma bond, the pain of our past yoking us together. If only I had a man in my life who loved me, maybe I would have known better. I've taken the time to heal. I discover new things about myself daily, what I like to smell, taste, or feel, or that I'm smart and adventurous, funny and fly, sex appeal on point. Oh, I'm the real deal, I'm not gonna lie. That divine feminine energy exuding from my pores, it drives the men crazy. They be like, whatever you want, baby girl, is yours. Well, what I want is to feel safe and protected by the men in my world. And maybe I'm asking for a lot, but I didn't get that privilege as a little girl. I want to feel comfortable reaching out to my fellow man for support, not to be manipulated by your gross sense of entitlement, so now you're my last resort. I want to get back to a place where brotherly and sisterly love were a common unity, where we're lifting each other up in love, not for selfish opportunity. I love you, black man, so love me too, but from a genuine, authentic place. That's what I need from you. Thank you.
Do we snap? Do we clap? Do we snap, clap, 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 clap? Ladies and gentlemen, one more time with love. So much redemption and liberation in the peace. It's not how you start the story, it's by how you end it. And yeah. I want to put a hunting party together. You know what I'm saying? So no other black woman or black child has to feel that pain. Has to heal from that type of trauma. A few of us good hunters out here, on our job to prevent these kinds of things from happening or responding in a way that that this is real. It's a real consequence for these kinds of things that happen. It don't matter if they the fan favorite, if they the church favorite, if they the Islamic favorite, if they the atheist favorite, whoever they are, there's a faction of us that stand ready for those kinds of situations.
Yes.
So yes, thank you for sharing, and thank you for being open and vulnerable enough to share that particular piece to give us a personal journey. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so we out of here because I can't pay love no more money. Okay, I pay by the hour, not by the job. So thank you. Blessings to you on your journey, righteousness, and continue to raise the standard. Okay, make us jump. Okay, they
Absolutely.
can't get it together. They ain't supposed to be there.
That's what it is.
All right. So peace and blessings, y'all.
Love y'all.
Painter, brother's letter. I should cut my ear off like Van Gogh. Stop performing at the Klan shows. Watch myself from the audience. Play piano with lit candles. I mean, I'll still perform, but the thrill is gone. I don't feel as strong. Maybe because the wheel is torn. I clutch in a ball because I'm sick to my gut. Then I brushed off the dust, stood up like I was touched by healing palms. I picked up my shield and 3 rocks as I'm hearing psalms. Know ye not that ye are gods? And I've been blocked by bouncers, overlooked by the announcers. I'm in the stand with the fans, which told me many of my album was like a counselor. They said songs like Then From Now, got them from then to now. Even deja vu, they said the old man was you in a reoccurring nightmare where you kept coming back around. I took a picture with him.